Welcome to another edition of Talking Models. Today we're going to take a look at John Coffey from the Green Mile. How do you spell coffee? It's like the drink. This kit is the bomb. It's available through Killer Kits out of England, and it's really just a beautiful piece that captures the gentle giant in his role from the Green Mile. We're going to take a look at this kit, and you can see all the detail that's in it. Of course, he was in his jeans, if you remember from the film, his overalls, the ragged shirt, in his bare feet. This kit has so much. It's a simple base with the nameplate of the Green Mile on it. You get little Mr. Bojangles, which he's holding in those giant hands of his, under his protection, if you remember Mr. Bojangles from the movie. It's got his smile on his face and just so much detail in it. If you just take a look around the back of it, all the detail in the overalls, the necklace on his neck, everything is beautifully captured in this piece. So if you're a fan of the Green Mile or Mr. John Coffey, this kit is a must. Let's talk a little bit what I did today to get these African skin tones in him and try to keep it pretty true to the form as you've seen him in the film. Okay, to start with, I base coated him in automotive grade primer, and then I came in with black, and I just hand painted all the black on this with my trusty Delta Cream Coat. And I just did the entire piece in black. I did some reference. I reached out to Saul Alvarez, thanks buddy, and he reminded me of his tutorial on Blackheart models on painting African skin tones. So I went in there and I kind of read through it, looked around a little bit on it, got some ideas. At Wonderfest I picked up one of the colors he recommended in there, and that was the transparent brown, I believe it was. I have it out here. And let's see here, transparent rich brown, which really goes good with the other skin colors from Garage US Colors, which I'll explain as I go. But to start, after everything is base coated, I started with his overalls, and that was simply accomplished by a couple of colors. I brought out the Freak Flex Badger paints. These are great airbrush paints because they have lots of blue choices. So I gave it a base coat of arterial blue, just covered it all nicely with that, sprayed over the black, covered it all, just shot the whole thing with that. Then I came in with Asphyxia blue from the Badger line, and I just started airbrushing that over the whole piece, hitting it a little heavier on all the folds of the overalls, the back pockets, along the tops there, along the fronts, and just kind of getting it, you know, the highlights, if you will, letting some of the original blue shine through a little bit. And then of course you come in with the transparent black, and I did some shading with that, just hit all the crevices, all the folds of the overalls, and then once you do that you come back in with the Asphyxia blue and you just hit some of the highlights on the overalls. And for the little clips here on the front over black, I just lightly dry brush some silver in there, and that way you get the look of silver against the blue overalls. And I like to tone it down a little bit with the transparent black. Now for his shirt, I mixed two different ones. I mixed the Garage US Colors and of course the Freak Flex. Over the black I hit it with some yellow orch from Jesse over at Garage US Colors. Covered that complete all the way back, front, just covered it up. Left a little hint of the black underneath to give it a worn look, if you will. Then I come in with Poisonous Plague yellow, and I hit lightly over that, a little bit heavier in like the front around his chest area, tops of the folds of the shirt, center of the back, follow the back of his lats because this guy was a big dude. And just kind of work that back and forth. It's a process. And then I ended up shading this with transparent black. I just kind of did a light mist over it, and then of course punched in all the folds with the transparent black. And then again the process of coming back in with the Poisonous Plague yellow and simply hitting the highlights. And that's all I did with his shirt. Now for the base, I used a few different colors. Again, mix and match, Garage US colors and the Freak Flex paint. It was base coated with, over the black, Garage US colors light green. So I shot that completely over it, just covered it, not heavy, just kind of stay back about 10-12 inches. Excuse me, and just cover it. Then once I was done with that, I came in with Garage US Colors Transparent Medium Green. Love this color, especially for a creature from the Black Lagoon. It just kind of tones it down, the green. It gives you basically what I did here. Excuse me. So then after I did that, I came back in with green, the light green, and kind of just back and forth process, hitting highlights, bringing it up, bringing it down, until I got what I liked, and then of course a misting of transparent black, tie it all together. Now for the sign, I left the tops of it black, and the center of it, over the black, I hit it with that transparent medium green, going back and forth with it. And then for the lettering, Frankenflesh, excuse me, out of the Freak Flex line was done for the lettering. Base is done. Now onto the skin tones. Like I said, I struggled with the black, getting the black flesh. Again, thanks to Saul, for reminding me of that. So here's what I used to bring this guy to life. I used 4 colors from Garage US Colors. The first initial color over black. Now, in Saul's tutorial, he talks about it like an ivory, which I'm sure would have worked too. But I was trying to just kind of mess around on my own, so I hand brushed black for his head, his arms, and of course his feet. First color I used was medium African Flesh from Garage US Colors. Did the whole piece with that. Shot it all, feet, head, hands, everything. Just all the way around, just airbrush away. Once you get that in, then it was a combination of back and forth process. Over that medium flesh, I sprayed Saul's recommendation, Transparent Rich Brown. I lightly sprayed that over the skin tone, which kind of, Saul's right in his article, that transparent just kind of really goes good with those colors. Just kind of brought the colors a little deeper, if you will. So then it was simply a process of using these other colors here. I would pull out the light African Flesh, and I would hit the highlights, the top of the head, the nose, anywhere around the tops, the hands, tops of the feet, just back and forth, back and forth. Once I had what I liked, I came in with the dark African Flesh, and I kind of held the brush back about 12 inches and just kind of misted the whole piece. So you got your waltz action going. Get one of these Lazy Susans, they're the bomb. And you just turn it around and brush it, and it gives it just a darker tone, flesh tone for him. Which, if you watch the movie, he was quite dark. And of course, there was a lot of dark filming of the movie, but in true life, he was a darker skin tone. So then it's just back and forth process with bringing the light flesh in, hitting the highlights again, going back with the transparent brown, and just going back and forth, hitting all the folds of your skin. You want to use I use the medium African Flesh for all the shading, and you just keep going back and forth with it. And it's a process. You'll see it as it unfolds. And of course then a light misting of transparent black over the piece, just to kind of, for me, bring it all down, and you get that finished look. I went in for his veining, and he has a scar on the side of his arm with the medium flesh, and got a little bit closer and kind of punched that up with the airbrush. A little bit darker under the eyes with that medium African Flesh. Just kind of back and forth on that process until I got the shading how I wanted it around his arms. Just kind of, just work those skin tones back and forth. Little botches of different colors and things that I've seen in the film I tried to put into this kit. Now his fingernails and toenails, basically I brought in the medium African Flesh, and I just airbrushed that on each toenail, each fingernail, and then I just came in with a light flesh, just a real fine misting in the center of each one, and just a misting of transparent black over the fingernails and the toenails, and it got what I was looking for. There's a difference in the from the feet to the toenails, from the hands to the fingernails, and that was basically all I did with his flesh tones. His necklace, just a real fine brush, drawing the black, and then lightly dry brush with silver, gets you what you're looking for. For his eyes, they were base coated in Freak Flex bleach tone tan, and then I just came in with the black for the pupil, and then for the color of his eyes, I just experimented around with some browns, some lightening up, darkening, a light brown, and of course you dot the center of the pupil, get your toothpick out, hit it in the paint, pop it, perfect circle. Bottom of his eyelid, along the eye, of course I use my red oxide from Graduous Colors and hit that fine line, and I also painted inside his mouth with that red. And then of course you want to come in for his teeth. I used the bleach bone tan and just kind of hand brushed all his teeth in, and his mouth was done. For his lips, I brought out Tongue from Graduous Colors and just kind of lightly airbrushed that in, and then I kind of just did a real quick spotty of transparent black just to kind of tie it in, and that finished off his mouth quite nicely. For his eyebrows, I just used a black pastel and just gently brushed those in, and that completely finished off his face. So I was happy with the outcome of the flesh tones. Again, shout out to Saul Alvarez for reminding me of that article, and just for some experimentation on my end, which is why we paint, we experiment as we go. For Little Mr. Bojangles, over the black, I just started dry brushing in some, it's called Dead Guy Gray from Badger Freak Flex, and just kind of worked that in, dry brushed it, and then of course toned it all down with the transparent black, and just worked that process back and forth. A real light for the inside of the Mr. Bojangles' ears, it was simply just using some of that tongue, just brushing it in, toning it down with some transparent black, and then some metallic black for the Mr. Bojangles' eyes, because I wanted them to kind of be stark, and that finished off the mouse. And then it was just a matter of putting some dull coat on it, taking some pictures, doing this video, and updating talking models. So there you have it. John Coffey from the Green Mile, available now through Killer Kits out of England. I'll have Dave Nicholson's contact information in the body of this video, and you can reach out to him and see if he has any of these available. There is some work you'll have to do on this kit. There was some sanding, the head, you had to do some sand and puttying to make it all fit. But in the end, you know what? It's well worth the effort, and I got a great piece from one of my favorite films that is out, to me, one of the finest films ever made. So that is John Coffey. Now I'd like you to hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. We're trying to get to 200. I believe I'm at 149 or 150. So I need 50 more of you to jump on board and support this channel and let others know about it, so we can spread the word in this hobby about model kits, new kits coming out. I'll have another kit review in the next episode coming up, and we're going to just keep hitting this channel and just sharing in the hobby things that I love and I know you love, or you wouldn't be watching this. So please subscribe, and those of you that have, thank you so much. So I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and that God bless your day.